Hi everyone, I'm Christine. I'm from the Granville branch of KDL, and I'm here today with my coworker and new friend Katie to share with you some books that we have read and really enjoyed. And all of the books that we're going to be sharing with you today all have something in common, and that's that all of the books that we're going to tell you about are all mysteries, and they are recommended for an elementary school audience, so approximately ages 6 through 10. And when I tell you about a book, I'll include the recommended age as given by the publisher, just to help you decide whether or not it might be a good fit for you or for the child in your life. But I never like to put too much stock into those recommended age levels, because you can always ask for help when reading a story that's a little bit difficult for you. And I am an adult who loves to read picture books, so I think even if you are maybe older than the recommended age, if it sounds interesting to you, by all means read it, because stories of all kinds are lovely and enjoyable. So I am actually going to start out with a picture book right now, and that book is called A Mystery in the Forest. It's by Susanna Isern and Daniel Montero Gallen, and it is about our friend Deer. This is Deer right on the cover here, and Deer loves to bake. And every morning he goes into the forest and he takes a nice walk, and he goes to this super secret spot that no one but him really knows about. And he picks all sorts of berries and nuts and other foods that grow in the woods. And then he takes them home and bakes them into things like jams and cakes and cookies. And then he shares all of those delicious treats with his woodland friends, which is really, really nice of him. But one morning he goes to his secret spot in the woods, and it looks like someone else has been there. There are some holes in the ground. It looks like someone's kind of been careless and broken off a lot of branches off the trees. So that's pretty interesting. And when Deer goes home, he realizes that someone has been inside his house, because it's a complete mess and he did not leave it messy. And when he looks around, he realizes that his secret recipe book is missing. Now, who on earth would break into Deer's house and take his recipe book? Why would they do something like that? Deer is determined to find out what's going on and to figure out who did this and to get his recipe book back. But he is going to have to decide what should he do when he finds out who took his recipe book. This is a fantastic book about friendship, forgiveness, and of course, baking. It uses a lot of warm, natural colors, which really makes it feel like you are a part of kind of this cozy woodland world while you're reading it. And it even comes with a recipe in the back of the book for Deer's super special apple pie. It's recommended for ages 4 to 8. That is A Mystery in the Forest by Susanna Isern and Daniel Montero Gallen. Next up is another picture book. This one is recommended for approximately ages 7 to 10, and it is called The Powwow Treasure by Joseph Bruchac and illustrated by Dale DeForest. And I really love that this book is an own voices story, which means that it is about Native American characters, and it is written and illustrated by two men who are also Native American. The author, Joseph Bruchac, is a member of the Nulhegan Band of the Abenaki tribe, and the illustrator, Dale DeForest, grew up on a reservation in New Mexico. So this book is about twins. Their names are Jamie and Marie. And Jamie and Marie love to go to powwows with their grandparents. And at the powwows, they help their grandparents sell homemade jewelry. And it seems like every powwow they go to, they find a mystery to solve while they're there. And today's powwow is no different. A man who calls himself Lester Laughing comes up to their table and introduces himself, and he tells the twins that a long, long time ago, someone hid a really important treasure on these powwow grounds, and no one has been able to find this treasure since it was hidden. But he has heard how good Jamie and Marie are at solving mysteries, so he thinks that they could do it. They could be the ones to find the treasure. So he gives them a map that he says will lead them to the treasure. But where exactly is this map going to lead? What is this treasure? And just who is Lester Laughing? This picture book is broken up into chapters, which is really cool. I feel like you don't see that a lot in picture books. And it has kind of two different styles of illustration. Some of the pages look like your typical picture book, but other pages are more of the graphic novel or comic style, with having these different panels on one page. So that's really cool to kind of see those two styles mixed together. And if you like this book, I highly recommend that you check out the other books in the Powwow Mysteries series, and it's The Powwow Thief and The Powwow Dog, and all by Joseph Bruchac and illustrated by Dale DeForest. All right, we're going to move on to our early chapter books here. And the first one that I have for you is called The Candy Caper Case by Paul Dubois Jacobs and Jennifer Swender. The words in this book are pretty large. There are some good pictures in there that will help you understand what's going on in this story. So this is kind of a book that I think bridges the gap between the early readers and the early chapter books. So it's a great one for those who are just kind of working on getting their independent reading skills. And it is recommended for ages 5 to 8. It is about Mac Rhino, who is a private investigator, which means that his job is to solve mysteries. Mac enjoys hanging out with his friend and assistant, Red Oxpeck, right there, and he enjoys drinking chocolate milk. Now, he is doing both of those things one day, just waiting for another mystery to pop up for him to solve, when suddenly his quiet little town called Coral Cove is not so quiet anymore. Security alarms start going off all over town at the Beach Street Museum, the Beach Street Savings Bank, and even Gino's Gems and Jewels. But the really strange thing is that nothing is missing at any of these places. So why are the alarms being set off? It's going to take teamwork, some pretty good investigative skills, and maybe some snacks along the way to solve the Candy Caper Case. That is Mac Rhino, Private Eye, The Candy Caper Case by Paul Dubois Jacobs and Jennifer Swender. Next, we have an early chapter book that is recommended for ages 7 to 9. There still aren't very many words per page on this one, and there are some beautiful color illustrations that come along with it, so another one that's great for early readers. And this book is about King, the dog, who looks like he's maybe a golden retriever. And King loves all sorts of things. He loves treats, food of all kind, really. He loves to play outside, and he really, really loves his human, Kayla. And one day, King and Kayla are playing outside with some of Kayla's friends named Mason and Asia. And Asia shows them this beautiful gold ring that she recently got as a present. And this ring used to belong to her grandma, so it is super special to her. But when they go inside to warm up, because it's pretty cold outside, Asia suddenly realizes that the ring isn't on her finger anymore. And they don't know what happened to it or where it could have been lost. So the three friends set out to kind of track down this ring, and King is trying to help them. But when King discovers the location of the ring, he has an additional puzzle to solve. See, he's a dog. He can't talk. So how is he going to tell Kayla and her friends where to find the missing ring? That is King and Kayla and the Case of the Gold Ring, written by Dory Hillstead Butler and illustrated by Nancy Myers. Next, we have Freddy Ramos Gets a Sidekick. This is part of the Zabato Power series by Jacqueline Jules and art by Kyron Ward. This is an early chapter book. It's recommended for ages 7 to 10. Now, Zapato means shoes in Spanish, and the main character, Freddy, who you see here, is basically a superhero. And he has these super cool shoes that have the power to make him run really, really, really fast. He has some other really cool gadgets as well that help him be a superhero, and all these gadgets are made by his friend, the inventor, Mr. Vaslov. And in this book, Freddy's a little upset because Mr. Vaslov wants to give Zapato power to another kid because he thinks maybe Freddy needs some help, needs someone else who can give him some help who has the same type of powers. But Freddy wants to be the only one with Zapato power because it makes him feel special. And he also can't think of any of the kids in the neighborhood who thinks are responsible enough to have Zapato powers, because it takes a lot of responsibility to be a superhero. And when Freddy notices holes appearing in wooden fences all over town, there are all these really tiny holes like the size of a nickel. He thinks this is a great opportunity to prove to Mr. Vaslov that he doesn't need any help. He can solve the mystery all on his own. But then something horrible happens and Freddy breaks his leg, which means that he can't use his Zapato powers until he's all healed again. So maybe he is going to need some help after all. I love that Freddy and his family use some Spanish phrases throughout this book. And if you enjoy this book, there are a ton other books in this series that you can choose from to read next. That is Freddy Ramos Gets a Sidekick by Jacqueline Jules, art by Kyron Ward. The Scrumptious Life of Azalea Lane by Nikki Shannon Smith, illustrated by Gloria Felix, is the newest book in the Azalea Lane series, and it's recommended for ages 5 to 7. Definitely some more words per page in this one than in the last one, so kind of getting kids ready to eventually move up into the J fiction area, but this one is still a JE, a junior easy and early chapter book. So Azalea Lane, Kid Detective, is ready to solve another mystery. And this time it is going to be a baking mystery. I feel like between this one and A Mystery in the Forest, I maybe need to go make some cookies after this. That's sounding pretty good right now. So Azalea is super excited because she gets to spend the weekend with her sisters, Nia and Tiana, at their Auntie Sam's apartment. Their parents have to go out of town for work, so they basically get a super long sleepover with Auntie Sam. And when they get to her house, Azalea has a really great idea. She wants to make some welcome home cookies for her parents to give them when they get back. After all, her mama always says that cooking for someone is like giving them a gift, and she would love to give her parents a gift. But when she tries to make the cookies, something goes horribly wrong. She is not sure what it is, but the cookies turn out really flat and hard and kind of just plain gross. And Azalea is going to have to figure out what is going on before time runs out and her parents make it back home. The Scrumptious Life of Azalea Lane is a baking mystery about determination, how to conduct a good investigation, and it has a spunky protagonist and a loving family. All right, now we're going to move into our J-fiction books, so our chapter books. First one is Midnight at the Barclay Hotel by Fleur Bradley, illustrated by Javier Bonet. And on a regular Tuesday afternoon, a librarian, a cowboy, a detective, an actress, and a restaurant owner all receive a super special invitation to spend a weekend, all expenses paid, at the Barclay Hotel. Who can turn down a free vacation? No one. So they all decide to attend, and they even bring a few stragglers along, much to the delight of Emma, who lives at the Barclay Hotel and is always looking for other kids to play with. The first straggler is Penny. She's 11 years old, and she is the granddaughter of the detective. Penny loves to read, and this weekend she is hoping to have a grand adventure that she can tell everyone at home about. The second straggler is JJ, who you see over here. He's coming along with his mother, who owns the restaurant PJ and JJ, which is a line of peanut butter sandwich shops. And JJ sees this weekend as a chance to go ghost hunting because the Barclay Hotel, he has heard, is haunted. But when the guests all arrive, they find out the real reason they were invited, which is that there's been a murder. And the 5 invitees are the suspects. They all have this one weekend to determine the identity of the killer, but everyone at the hotel does have their own secrets to hide. Can Penny, JJ, and Emma figure out who done it before it's too late? This book is recommended for ages 8 and up. It has some very lovely, dramatic black and white illustrations throughout the book. And Kirkus Reviews calls it a quirky, kid-friendly introduction to the murder mystery, and I could not agree more. That is Midnight at the Barclay Hotel by Fleur Bradley, illustrated by Javier Bonet. Thank you so much for listening, and over to Katie for some more recommendations.
So I'm going to go ahead and get started here with a picture book. This is called There Are No Bears in This Bakery, and it's by Julia Sarcone Roach. This book came out in 2019, and it is just an adorable, hilarious little book. It's got a very noir feel to it, and as we all know, cats and mysteries go together very well. So in this particular book, this cat here always kind of knows what's going on in his neighborhood. And so one day when the local bakery, which is called Little Bear Bakery, gets trashed, he's trying to figure out what is going on. It looks like there's been a bear there, but as we know, there are no bears in this bakery. So what's going on? We're going to have to find out. For our early readers, I'll start right here with a Boxcar Children book. And so this did just come out last year, but it's called The Blue Bay Mystery, and it's based on the original book by Gertrude Chandler Warner, who wrote the original Boxcar Children series. It is based on a book for older kids, and so this has just been modified for younger readers, and it is very fun. Any caregivers who have who loved Boxcar Children as kids, but you really want to get your kids involved and start reading those right away, this is definitely a good fit. And next, I have something here from Mo Willems. Everybody loves Mo Willems. Nobody has ever seen a Mo Willems thing that is not just fantastic. I think that is just fact. But this is from a series called Unlimited Squirrels, and this title and question is, who is the mystery reader? We see the mystery reader right here in his mask, and try to figure out what squirrel that is. And like all other Mo Willem books, there are hilarious characters that are very quirky, lots of simple text, and lots of pictures, but not in a way that seems easy or dumb. It's really engaging just for the youngest readers. I also wanted to point out there's this a little bit of an older series for earlier readers, and that's a series called The High Rise Private Eyes. This one that I have here is called The Case of the Desperate Duck. But these are by Cynthia Rylant. And again, I said they're a little bit older, but if you're looking for another resource for a series that have those mysteries, this is a good, solid one. And we're moving up a little bit in our level here. This is from the series The Chicken Squad. As you can see, there's our squad right there. And this is called Gimme Shelter. This is by Doreen Cronin, who wrote one of my favorite picture books, which is Click Clack Moo, Cows That Type. But in this book, the Chicken Squad is trying to dig a bunker to protect themselves from the storm. They need a storm shelter. But when they're digging, they come across an amazing archaeological discovery, and they have to figure out what that is and how it's relevant to them. Doreen Cronin is always really funny, again, with like really weird characters, really funny animal characters. So I have here the Zack and Zoe Mysteries. This is not the first book in the series, but did come out last year. This is a series by Mike Lupica, who's known for his sports literature for kids. But this is about, you can see Zack and Zoe there, who solve the crimes in all of these books. But in this case, their third grade class goes to visit the Baseball Hall of Fame. And they're really excited to see all kinds of stuff, but especially one particular signed baseball. But when they get there, it's gone. So Zack and Zoe have to solve the mystery. So if you want to find out what happens there, pick that one up. Now we're moving to a little more middle grade books. I'm going to start off with a graphic novel here. This is called Investigators, emphasis on the Gator, and it's by John Patrick Green. And this is really a very cute, funny book. It's full of puns, full of puns. So, adult readers beware. It's also got a lot of fart jokes. So, if you don't like those, then maybe skip this one. But it is really cute. It's kind of a spoof on all of the sort of the detectives that are working for a special organization, and so there's all kinds of funny acronyms in there, but mostly it's just a really fun kind of silly book about a couple of gators that are solving crimes. My 6-year-old loved. Okay, so next we have Kudo Kids. This also came out last year, and this is by the Olympic ice dancing team and brother and sister, Maya and Alex Shibutani. And this is about a couple of kids who are named Mika and Alex, very close to the author's names. So you can tell that this is near and dear to their heart. But they get a chance to go to the Tokyo Olympics. They learn all about Japan and get to experience some culture there. But also, they get a chance to participate in a big puzzle game put on by somebody called the Masked Medalist. And they are competing against other people to find these virtual medals and so that they can win a prize. But they aren't just trying to win this prize, they're also trying to figure out the identity of the masked medalist. So anybody who is into the Olympics or sports or just mysteries in general, this is a good one. Next, we have Goldie Vance here. This is based on a teen graphic novel, and it's about a girl who lives in a resort in Florida. Her dad manages the resort, so she lives right on site. And there's a lot of show business stuff that goes on there. Her mom happens to work at the Mermaid Club as a mermaid. And in this particular story, we start out by learning how Goldie wants to be just like the resort's full-time detective, because they have a detective on site. And so that's really what she wants to do. And it turns out that her mom, who's working as a mermaid at the Mermaid Club, has been framed for the loss of a diamond encrusted swim cap. So of course, not only does she love solving mysteries, but she also wants to save her mom. So Goldie investigates and finds a way to make sure that everyone knows that her mom is completely innocent. And next here, this particular book, first in the series, is from 2019, but there is a second book that's coming out this June. So June of 2021. This is by James Patterson and is called Alley Cross. And you might notice the similarity of names to James Patterson's Alex Cross series. And that is because Alley Cross is Alex Cross's son. So naturally, he, comes by the family business naturally and solves mysteries, goes on adventures. And then the book that is coming out in June is called Alley Cross, like father, like son. So any families that are into James Patterson, like really like heart racing kinds of adventures, that's a good one. Now perfect for middle readers. Next, I'll show you here Samantha Spinner and the Boy and the Ball. This one came out in 2020. This is also not the first in the series. I think it's the third, but it is a really fun, kind of weird book about Samantha Spinner, who has already saved the day in a number of cases with some kinds of weirds goings on with her uncle. And so as he is warning her about some impending doom, and all of a sudden her little annoying brother goes missing. I mean, how often does that happen? Little brothers run off and then you have to solve a mystery. And so this is really fast paced. It's got a lot of puzzles in it. So if you like puzzles, this is a good one. This is another one that has a bit of bathroom humor. So again, not keen on the fart jokes, then give it a miss. But otherwise, it's pretty hilarious. And last but not least, I have Premeditated Myrtle, and this one also came out in 2020. This is the first in the series, and this is by Elizabeth C. Bunce. So this is about a 12-year-old English girl who is very precocious. She's very smart and is always trying to figure out what's going on. So when her neighbor dies, she thinks this is really suspicious. And then she thinks, this is not just suspicious. I'm pretty sure that this is murder. So Myrtle goes ahead and investigates and sees what she can find. So if you're interested in that, we got a nice sort of English mystery there.